Hi guys, Sean here from DigiDirect. Today we're going to be talking about a new version of the popular DJI Osmo handheld video stabilizer, and that's the Osmo Plus. And the Osmo's been out for a little while. The Osmo Plus is a new version that's just been released, and the difference between the Osmo and the Osmo Plus is that the Plus version has zoom built in. The regular Osmo had no zoom at all, it was just a fixed focal length. Now, we didn't do a review of the Osmo when it first came out, so I'm going to first, before we touch on the zoom aspect of the Plus, I'm going to start talking about some of the features that are in both the Osmo and the Osmo Plus first, then we'll get to the zoom feature. So basically, the Osmo and the Osmo Plus are handheld video stabilized gimbals. And the camera's built into it at the top here. We got a hand grip on the bottom, which lets us, it gives us a couple controls, and we'll go through those in a sec. And on the side here, we have a holder for a phone. So you'll notice that the Osmo does not have any screen. You actually put your phone in here. There's an app called DJI Go that lets you see what the Osmo sees. You connect via Wi-Fi, control different settings, and so on. So the heart of the Osmo here are these mechanical gimbal stabilizers around the camera. So you can see as I move my hand here, the camera stays nice and steady. So you can see as I do some movements around here, we'll see what the Osmo is seeing right now. You can see it gives you nice, smooth footage to move around and get different shots, and a lot of movement-based footage is what you're going to be able to do with the Osmo. So it shoots 4K at 30 frames per second, so really high quality footage. It's really crisp and clear and really a lot of detail, so it's really nice footage coming out of the camera. So here on the handle, we've got all of our controls. Now, first of all, if I don't touch anything and I just move the camera back and forth, it'll follow my hand movements there and change the aim of the camera. But I do have a joystick on the back here. You can see this here on the back. I've got a joystick where I can use this to aim the camera into different angles without having to actually move my hand, which is very cool. On the front, I've got a trigger, and that'll do a couple different things. First of all, if I hold the trigger and move, it's going to keep the camera facing in one direction. It's not going to follow my movements. Now, if I've got the camera pointed in a different direction and I tap the trigger twice, it'll recenter the camera and point it forward. If I tap it 3 times, it's going to spin the camera around to selfie mode. So now it can, if I'm doing any video blogging or something like that, I can talk to the camera here. If I want to show what's in front of me, I double tap again and it spins around to see what's in front of me. So a lot of cool movement controls here. On the back of the handle, I have a shutter button because the Osmo does take 12 megapixel photos. And we've also got a video record button here. We also have some additional controls on our phone. When that's attached and connected, we can drag our finger around on the phone screen. That will also move the camera. We can access all of our settings, change our modes. Here's where we're going to access the zoom controls for the Osmo Plus, and so on. Now, in addition to the 4K video, it also has time-lapse videos that you can create with the Osmo. And like I said, it does have some photo modes. You can do panoramic shots, long exposure shots. Without a tripod, you just hold it and the stabilization keeps it steady. So that's very cool. Although realistically, most people are going to be looking at this for the video capabilities. So the real test of the Osmo and the Osmo Plus is how good is their video stabilization. And they are absolutely first rate in this regard. They're really, really high quality stabilization. It's excellent if you're walking around, doing follow shots, movement shots, even running, moving really, really quickly. The stabilization on these things is insane. It's really, really, really high quality. And then that, coupled with the 4K crisp video, gives you the opportunity to do a lot of really cool shots that you often don't have the opportunity to do otherwise, especially considering the small form factor of the Osmo. Compare this to a full kind of gimbal rig like a Movi or something that you would put a full frame camera on. The Osmo lets you accomplish similar results with really something that you can check in your backpack. I tossed it on my backpack. I took it for a longboard ride. I took it for walks in the parks and so on. It's really, really impressive. Okay, so now let's touch on the differences between the Osmo and the Osmo Plus. I mentioned at the beginning, that's really the zoom. The original Osmo has no zoom, it's just a fixed focal length, and that's that. The Osmo Plus factors in a zoom range. So the Osmo has a 7 times zoom. It can go from 22 mil to 77 millimeters. 3.5 times zoom is optical zoom, and then the other 2 times zoom is digital zoom. So the way the digital zoom works is if you're shooting in 4K, it actually crops it down, if you're fully zoomed in, crops it down to 1080. So you can still shoot in 4K and be fully zoomed in and still have fully 1080p footage. So that's cool. So how useful really is the zoom on the Osmo? Well, obviously you'll use it for regular kind of operations, like just if you're standing somewhere and you can't get closer or don't want to get closer to something, you can zoom in just like you would a zoom lens on a camera. That's cool, that has its uses. What I really found was the main benefit of the zoom on the Osmo Plus was the flexibility and perspective control that it allows in your shots. Now, what I mean by perspective control is this is something that is applicable to all lenses, not just the Osmo. Any lens for any system has this. The wider a lens is, the more it exaggerates distance between objects. So on a wide angle lens, things that are close to you look large and things that are far away look very small. The more telephoto you get, the less that is the case, and the opposite starts to happen. When you're fairly telephoto, things that are in the distance look closer and larger than they actually are. That's why, for example, portraits are usually shot with a bit longer lens because it's more flattering to the facial features than a wide-angle lens. So how does this apply with the Osmo Plus? Well, it depends on what kind of shots you want to get. It gives you the flexibility to frame your shots differently. For example, take a look at this first shot here. This is on the widest zoom setting, 22 millimeters. See how big the asphalt seems and how far away that next little garden is and the palm tree. Now look at this shot again. This is the same shot, but at fully zoomed in. Look at the difference in perspective, specifically regarding the background elements. See how much closer they look. So these are two very different looks of the same shot. The only thing that's changed here is the zoom. Take a look at this next shot. In this one, I was on my longboard. I was behind this lady in the bike in front of me. You can see this is on the widest angle. It's a big wide angle shot. That's cool. But now let's take a look at if I'm zoomed in. I'm the same distance away from the biker in this shot. And the emphasis is far much more on the subject, the lady on the bike herself. So it changes the context of the shot. Wide angles are great for taking in really big scenery shots, landscape, big open spaces, while having a bit more zoom and telephoto on your lens is a lot better for focusing on a particular subject. So that's what I really found the benefit of the zoom on the Osmo Plus to be, not just standing there and zooming in and zooming out at something, more so being able to control that perspective to achieve the kind of shot that I want to achieve. I love wide angle shots, but I don't want every shot necessarily to be a wide angle shot, and having that zoom lets me control that on the Osmo Plus. Now there are some things that you'll have to be wary of on the zoom. Obviously, the more zoomed in you are, the less effective the stabilization is going to be. Here's a shot of me running full speed with the Osmo on when it's fully zoomed out. You can see it's fairly smooth considering I'm running literally full speed right now. Here's the same shot where I'm zoomed in all the way, again running full speed. You can see that shot is a shot I probably wouldn't want to use. It's too jittery and so on. It's still very good. You can still definitely use the image stabilization when fully zoomed in. You just have to be a little bit more careful about it. Secondly, the zoom doesn't zoom in and out very fast. It's not going to be something where you're going to be shooting and you zoom in for a close-up shot and then you zoom back out real quick and so on. It's kind of slow. It takes a second for the autofocus to focus again once it's fully zoomed in. Probably it's going to be something that you're going to use to frame your shot in advance and then you shoot it rather than doing quick zoom in and out. So just bear that in mind as well. Being able to control that perspective makes a big difference. Considering that it's only about $150 difference between the regular Osmo and the Osmo Plus, it's not a huge price difference between the two. If you'd like to learn a bit more about the camera, please come into one of our stores. We'd be happy to help you out. We've got stores in the Sydney CBD, Bondi Junction, Miranda, Chatswood, the Brisbane CBD, Melbourne CBD, and Cannington, Western Australia. You can also order the Osmo Plus on our website at www.digidirect.com.au. Take care, guys.